Hello, fellow wrestling fans, and welcome to a brand new podcast simply called Revenge of the Marks. I am one of your hosts, Dane Campbell. My buddy Damien Black going to be jumping on in just a few minutes to join me. Actually, we're going to throw it to a conversation that we had in the car on the way back from the arena for both ROH Supercard of Honor 12 as well as WrestleMania 34. Yes, indeed, it was WrestleMania weekend this past week in New Orleans, and wow, man, so much action, so many things to get to. Two very long cards. Some might argue a little bit too long, but we're going to get into all that goodness in just a few minutes. Now, of course, in the days since these two events, a lot of the smoke is cleared, and some of the questions that we had that were left lingering over the weekend have been answered since then. So, of course, you're going to already know the results of some of the scenarios that have fallen out after WrestleMania being over, particularly the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar situation, as well as, a few other things as well. So we're going to go ahead and get down to business, talk about what you came to hear, and that is our thoughts from a purely fan perspective, what we thought of both cards, ROH Supercard of Honor as well as WrestleMania 34. It's a brand new podcast, and basically the purpose of this podcast is just simply to get a fan's perspective and reaction on what we liked, what we didn't like, and maybe what we would like to see different. So hopefully you agree, and if you don't agree, well, hopefully you'll chime in on Facebook and let us know, what you think about what's going on in WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan, whatever you like. So anyway, without further ado, here we go. Let's get into the Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor breakdown right now.
All right, so
here we go. We're not even really sure what we're going to call this yet.
No, we have no idea what we're going to call it.
Right now, it's really just a chronicle of the weekend that we've been having. And, we started off our weekend tonight with Supercard of Honor at the Lakefront Arena.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it was our first ROH show for both of us.
Yeah, for both of us. I'm really impressed with the quality of the show that they have, too.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, it's kind of a cool time to be jumping on board. I mean, obviously, I've seen ROH shows before, like on tape, but this is the first live event I've ever been a part of. And, the biggest crowd in Ring of Honor history.
So far, yeah.
Somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 people.
Yeah.
And, they packed the arena pretty well. And it was, the crowd was great, as expected. WrestleMania weekend, you've got your diehards, fans from all over the world coming in.
Your indie elite.
Yes. And
from all over the world, too. Like, I was surprised by how many people they had there that were just, like, from other countries. I heard some guy that walked past me was, like, from Scotland and shit. He had a Scottish accent. I've seen a lot of freaking Japanese people,
Yeah, man, I tell you what, that number, that 5,500 number, or so, sorry if you hear the windshield wipers in the background.
It's
misty.
Raining.
But, it's even more impressive when you consider the fact that they had some stiff competition tonight, NXT across town in the Smoothie King Center.
Yeah.
Which we obviously, because we were at Supercard, we have not yet seen the NXT card, and so we'll have our thoughts on that, at a later time. But yeah, the ROH show, it was an all-day affair. It started with the Festival of Honor, which I would understand had some components to it that had never been done before. They did a bunch of Q&A panels live at ringside.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
First thing we saw when we went through the door, they had a Bullet Club panel with the Young Bucks and Marty and Hangman Page, and it was really cool. They took a bunch of questions and just kind of spoke candidly about the Bullet Club, and so I definitely enjoyed that. That was kind of a highlight of the day for me.
I enjoyed some of the questions that some of the people had.
Oh, yeah. I think you had a great question that we unfortunately did not get to ask. But since we're recording this, go ahead and what question were you going to ask?
I think it was more of a joke question. It was asking Hangman Page how did Joey Ryan's piss taste.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was working piss.
Oh yeah, it was totally working piss. I think it was totally lemonade or something.
I don't think it was shoot piss,
Yeah. But no.
but yeah, no, it was awesome. And of course they kind of the Bucks they kind of filmed the crowd at the beginning there, so we might have a cameo on this next episode of Being the Elite, which would be pretty awesome. See our
the 100th episode of Being the Elite.
So we'll be on the lookout for our awkward, goofy white asses.
Woo!
We might make a very small appearance on BTE number 100. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we there were a bunch of meet and greets throughout the day. Unfortunately, we were not able to do any pictures or autographs, but
sadly.
But I was able to. Yeah, exactly. And maybe if we get some sponsors and this thing takes off, next time it'll be different.
Let's hope that happens, so we won't have to worry about that.
We'll sell a few t-shirts. Maybe we'll open up a shop on ProWrestlingTees.com
and get our own few t-shirts.
Yeah, and then it won't be an issue. Then people will be paying us to do meet.
Right there you go.
But no. On a serious note, though, it was cool. Got to shake a bunch of hands and speak to some guys that, I grew up watching, in high school, like Jay Lethal and Christopher Daniels and Kazarian and whatnot. Yeah, great guys, very down to earth.
I shook Jay Lethal's hand.
Yeah, exactly. He's like the coolest guy. He was wearing like a flannel blue shirt, like blue jeans. He was
just hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was definitely a very cool aspect of the program. Of course, the Bullet Club meet and greets were like chaos. There were people everywhere lining up for that, and of course for Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi as well.
It was kind of interesting having that whole kayfabe vibe where they had them across the arena. They had the Bullet Club in one section, and then you had Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega in another section.
Yeah.
And they were pretty much with most of the New Japan people that were over there. We had
Ishii was there,
Tanahashi.
Yep.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
One thing I will say, obviously Ring of Honor is a much smaller promotion than WWE, and I guess for me, not having a ton of experience with indie shows, when you're doing a WWE event like an Access, you kind of get used to a certain level of, what's the word I'm looking for? Organization.
Yeah,
that was kind of lacking here.
Yeah.
It was
a little rough and rowdy.
A lot of the meet and greets were just kind of a clusterfuck, to put it plainly.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously we didn't pay for anything like that.
But you in a small venue like the Lakefront Arena. I mean, the Lakefront Arena is pretty small considering.
It's a 10,000 seater.
Yeah, it's a 10,000 seater, but what I mean is being small enough where the hallways going around is really, really tiny. So you can only put so many people in the line to go meet people without it being a clusterfuck.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, but they've got a concession stand. The main concession stand is right in front of the entrance to the building. So you're standing in line trying to get a hot dog, and you're blocking up traffic going both ways. So it just felt a little rough. Obviously they're dealing with a much larger crowd than they're normally used to. So you kind of give them a pass in that sense.
Yeah.
But that was just something
But the day was so cool.
Oh, it was awesome.
I had a great time. I had to get through a lot of anxiety and my social awkwardness.
Yeah, well, it is a little weird. Even if you're a fan of somebody and you feel like you know their work really well, it's kind of awkward because you're going up to them. You're going up to them and you're shaking their hand, and it's like, well, what do you say? I'm such a big fan, this and that, obviously, but it gets a little weird because it's like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, okay, I don't know if I should just speak to this person, plainly or what? I always ask before, like, is it all right if I shake your hand? Like, I hope that doesn't come off weird, but I just, I don't want to just assume that I'm just going to be able to go up and,
just be like, dude, yeah.
Especially when, they're charging money to take pictures and do autographs and stuff.
Right,
you don't wanna,
a simple handshake could probably be like $10.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want to, you don't want to overstep your boundary or whatever, so to speak. But no, everybody was really cool.
But I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to really interact at all with any of the Bullet Club guys, just because they were so flooded with people. But and especially Kenny Omega, the line literally to meet him wrapped around the building. Now, of course, it could have been partially him and Kota, but but yeah, it was organized chaos, to put it mildly.
Man, I'd say those panels though were actually really good. I enjoyed the panels that they had. They did that little game show where Colt Cabana
and Ian, they went up against the best friends, and Beer City Bruiser and Silas Young, I think it was. And, that was fun. It was definitely a cool concept. Kind of like a smaller version of WWE Access, because they've got a similar thing there, having done that. Of course, the thing about Access that's great is that you really get a chance to get autographs and pictures with a lot of people without having to pay anything extra.
Right.
But it's a little different, it is what it is. But yeah, so, we got there to the building and spent probably a good 5 or 6 hours. Hanging out. And, and then the preliminary matches started. The action got off to a pretty strong start.
Yeah.
They had a few tournaments or a few semifinal rounds for the tournament for the Women of Honor Championship,
and they had a tag team match.
Yeah. I think one of the surprising things to me, I think we both agreed, one of the finishes, we kind of both thought that Tenille Dashwood, Emma would at least end up in the finals for the women's tournament.
Right. But got surprised though.
Yeah.
By oh God, what was her name?
Man, I'm terrible, to be honest with you. Yeah. I don't really follow the product regularly, so a lot of these names I'm not familiar with. I think her name was like Sunai or Sumi. Sumi. It might have been. Sumi. Somebody's gonna correct us.
Probably.
But that's fine. But yeah, it was, the matches were pretty good. It was, there were a few blown spots here and there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it was the most memorable action of the night by any means, but
it was still, it was a good pickup.
Good solid opener.
Yeah,
I agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And, they told a pretty good story with, man, again, I'm terrible with these names, but the heel girl that went over the first round.
Kelly.
Yes, Kelly.
I can't remember her last name.
Klein. Kelly Klein.
That's what it was. There we go.
Yeah, well, Kelly Klein. They Kelly Klein advances, and then Suni or Sumai or whatever, she advances in the semifinals, and then they have the face off with the belt, and then Kelly Klein kind of does the shit heel move and catches her with the forearm and knocks her down, and sets the stage nicely for the finals, which are going to happen later in the evening. But yeah, as you said, obviously, there were a few preliminary matches. There was a big tag team match, triple threat tag team. It was nice to see the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah. And a local tag team was also in this.
Yeah, Luke Hawk, and
whoever.
I don't even remember.
He was the fall guy.
He was the fall guy. Exactly. He was the young boy.
He was the young boy.
The young boy that was there to eat the pit. That's basically what he was there for.
And he took a big splash.
Oh man.
My God!
That boy looked like he,
Oh, and he wasn't exactly the most muscular person in the world. I'm not saying he was cheeseburger size, but he was pretty slim.
He was a double corn-fed son of a bitch.
Oh, and that big boy just jumped off that top rope and killed him.
Yeah. You can't work that to beyond a certain extent.
Oh man.
But So yeah, the card itself, man, it ran really long. I was surprised. I think they only had like 8 matches or so. I'm thinking it's going to be a 3-hour pay-per-view.
Yeah,
it went from 7 to about midnight Central Time. So that's what, a 5-hour pay-per-view. Now there was an intermission in there.
15-minute intermission.
A couple of angles thrown in the mix as well to kind of stretch things out, but. Yeah, it was long, but it was good. They had a really nice mix of action. You had your some pretty solid technical bouts. Whether you're looking at like a Marty Scurll versus Dalton Castle was a pretty good affair.
Very good affair.
And then you've got your Spot Fest. You had the 6-man ladder match,
which was so good.
Yeah, oh man, it was like Demolition Derby.
It was train wreck, but awesome.
Gosh, it was something to be seen, and then Coda and Hangman had a really great match.
Good match, surprising match of the night with Hangman because I've seen Hangman work in New Japan, and he's
one of the lower guys on the totem pole as far as Bullet Club goes. I mean, he's still working his way up.
But I feel like this match really like. Elevated him.
I agree.
I feel like it elevated him.
Even in losing, I think he put in a really good good showing and really really pulled his weight tonight. I thought he did a great job.
He did an awesome job.
There was a really crazy spot in that match where he was on the guardrail. He hopped up on the guardrail to do a moonsault or something like that, and then Coda hopped up behind him and did a German onto the floor. And
flipped him.
Yeah,
flipped him.
And it was crazy.
It was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy.
I thought he was dead.
But another thing about tonight was a lot. I won't say. Well, yeah, they pretty much were botches, but it was like maybe overshooting just a little bit.
Oh yeah. There were
about 2 matches. I'd say there was a couple of good. Overshoots, doing some suicide dives, some tope.
In fact, it was funny because the guy behind us made a point, and we were like 5 or 6 matches into the show, and Jay Lethal hits a suicide dive, and the guy behind us is like, "Wow, he's the first guy that did a suicide dive and didn't almost kill himself." So yeah, it got a little crazy. Especially in that Punishment Martinez and Ishii match.
Yes.
That guy nearly broke his neck a couple of times.
God, that was like freaking crazy.
Yeah, he's a big old boy. He's probably 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
Leaping over the turnbuckle. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I appreciate the athleticism, and it was awesome. But man, there's a reason why guys that big rarely do moves like that.
Right, and a surprise win by him too.
Yeah,
against Ishii,
and it was a fairly one-sided affair too. I thought Ishii didn't really get in a whole ton of offense. I was kind of surprised.
It was a surprise. I mean, considering he's the neverweight champion, and the never openweight champion, in Ring of Honor, and that's the never openweight is pretty much a strong style belt.
Yeah,
so like he's coming in with like all this momentum, and like everybody in the crowd thought that he was at least going to be the favorite, but he ended up. I mean, it almost like they kind of jobbed him out a little bit.
Yeah, it did kind of feel that way. I figured, he was just. He was letting him get his shit in, and then he was going to come back strong and win the match. But it was kind of a surprise. But that happens sometimes. Maybe they're setting something up down the road. Maybe he'll put the title on the line next time or something.
Maybe.
But yeah, God, there's so much stuff happening.
So much stuff.
It's just kind of like wrestling overload. The crowd was great throughout the whole thing. Obviously, real hot for all the New Japan guys. As we mentioned, Tanahashi got a great reaction. Kota Ibushi was super over with the fans, and it was pretty cool because you don't often get a crowd of that magnitude that's that hot throughout the entire night. It kind of makes the show, to be honest.
It really does.
A good crowd can take a good match and make it a great match, and I think that's what happened a lot tonight. I think a lot of the stuff that we really enjoyed was amplified by the heat that the crowd brought to the show. Yeah. And there was some fun stuff that happened throughout the night. WrestleMania weekend is always a memorable crowd. And sometimes I think they take it a little too far, and the crowd is kind of like, popping themselves and trying to get themselves over.
Get themselves over and stuff,
And I didn't think that happened too much tonight, which I was glad about. It stayed in the ring, basically. And of course, the Kenny and Cody match was probably the hottest the crowd got.
Hottest the crowd got. It was really. I mean, besides the Coda and Hangman, it was definitely the match of the night.
Oh, I agree. And we discussed it beforehand, and we kind of gave our theories about what might happen. And I asked you, John. I said, hey, do you think we'll see a clean finish, or do you think there's going to be shenanigans? Because it just seems like the way that this story has been built up, there's no way it's just going to go down 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. And there's going to be some shit that goes down.
And of course it didn't. It didn't go down clean. No. It went down with some more shenanigans.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a good match. It was fun. It didn't bother me in this case.
No, it
because
really didn't.
We got clean finishes throughout the rest of the night, and to me the story kind of called for it in this case. I mean, obviously everyone is wondering, which side are the Bucks going to fall on? Which side? Where is this Civil War storyline going to take us? And obviously we got another chapter in the story tonight.
Yeah, it was a super kick gone wrong.
Yes,
a double super kick gone wrong, I should say, because they went to go and hit Cody and ended up hitting Kenny instead.
Yep. Accidentally?
It was
question mark?
Yeah, accidentally question mark. It looked kind of accidental.
Yeah.
From where we were sitting, but you never know.
Oh yeah. Either way, this story is far from over.
Oh, it's far from over.
And we're gonna see, the fallout on being the Elite coming up earlier this week. Sorry, I had a belch there. But yeah, other than that, man, Brandy Rose took a V-trigger right on the chin.
That
went through
so
the table.
Good.
And it's funny because the minute Cody took that table out, we were like, yeah, Brandy's definitely going to that table. There's no question.
Brandy's gonna fucking take that bump.
And sure enough, we went there. One complaint, and if this comes off a bit as a ramble, forgive us, because we're just driving home from the arena. We're just kind of just giving our thoughts in general. It's not really a match by match breakdown per se.
Look, we are fans.
Yeah, exactly.
We are fans. We're not going to sit here and try to analyze anything. We have our own little smart comments that we could possibly put into it, but we're not going to sit here and try to break it down. No, we're just going to tell you about our enjoyment of wrestling.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Well said, my friend. And anyway, one thing that I thought was a little bit excessive is the fact that, we're telling a lot of different stories, because we've got who is the leader of the Bullet Club, which side are the Young Bucks on, which, where does everyone stand, and then on top of that, you've got the other dynamic of Cody, Brandy, and Flip Gordon.
Flip Gordon.
And so
the man of the night, the hero.
Exactly. Flip comes out, and he's tending to Brandy after she takes the table bump. And this is like the third time that we've seen Flip Gordon on this night.
Yeah, about this time. We saw him in his own match
and
with the Young
Bucks. And on top of that, he kind of did the same thing earlier in the night for Cheeseburger after the Bully Ray heel turn.
Which we'll get into.
Yes. And all of this comes after the ladder match with him and the Young Bucks. So it just kind of felt like, a little bit of an overload of Flip Gordon and doing a little bit of the same thing.
Well, I love Flip.
Oh, I love Flip too. Don't get me wrong.
Flip,
it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault.
It's just just a little bit of a nitpicky thing. It's almost like they crammed a little bit too much into one show for my taste.
Right.
But that's just me.
But on the subject of the Bully Ray, as a matter of fact, so watching a little bit of the product beforehand going in, Bully Ray being the face commissioner, or whatever he is, enforcer, whatever he is, being the face at the time, taking care of the Kingdom, kicking him out, which that was awesome. That's another thing we forgot to talk about. We'll get to that in a little bit. The kicking out the Kingdom, they couldn't enter the arena, and they were outside of the arena selling their merchandise. It was great.
Selling the whole being banned from the arena was pretty awesome.
It was pretty cool. But yeah, the Bully Ray segment was actually like really cool because he's been playing this face kind of character a little bit, and Cheeseburger and a tag team partner of his was supposed to have a match with. I don't even know who the guys were.
Yeah, they didn't introduce anybody.
They really didn't introduce it. The only person I knew in it was Cheeseburger, and of course, the heel team comes out and attacks them before the match even starts, and really damages Cheeseburger's partner's leg and all that stuff. So Bully Ray comes out and asks him to. I'm giving a play-by-play, but I thought it was actually a really cool segment. But anyways, Cheeseburger sits there and kind of coerces Bully Ray into being his partner. They do a couple of spots, a couple of the old Dudley Boy things, and
then Bully Ray with the heel turn
ends up choke slamming the shit
out of Cheeseburger.
I mean, he folded.
Oh yeah,
it was awesome.
I thought it was really well done because obviously, Bully Ray was majorly over with the fans going into it because he just went into the Hall of Fame last night. But the way that they turned that and almost made it a way to get heat was great because, his attitude after that was like, I don't need this shit. I'm a WWE.
I'm a Hall of Fame. I'm a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so he totally went for the heat with that, which was awesome.
Another thing that I was really impressed with was the fact that he actually used the whole Louisiana
Board of Commission. Yeah, he threatened to pile drive Cheeseburger and basically get the show shut down.
Get the show shut down, which
was a total
heel move. Dick move. It was so good, though. I loved it.
Yeah, that was awesome. And obviously I'm still laughing because in any other crowd that would probably be a total heat magnet, but it's WrestleMania weekend, so obviously
everybody,
people are going to cheer regardless because
they booed and cheered at the same time, and that seemed to be the kind of condition everybody was in. It wasn't going to Ring of Honor was just a fun fest, and
it's not so much about the heels and faces.
Yeah, it was like we're going to choose who we like, and we're going to root for them, or I honestly rooted for anybody. It didn't matter, because I liked everybody on the card.
Oh yeah.
So it was one of those things because I know everybody that was on the card is a talented motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I cheered whenever I cheered for when Cody did something heelish, and it was like a beautiful moment. I guess that's just I appreciate the work that wrestlers put on.
Definitely, so, and when a heel does something really dickish, obviously that they do that with the intention of being booed, but it's like you can't help but appreciate the fact that they're doing something, they're doing their job really well.
They're doing their job really well.
Yeah, so
it's not something that you see every day in the most conventional WWE way.
Yeah, exactly. The heel face dynamic has changed a lot over the years. But nevertheless, the action was really solid tonight. There were several matches, like I said, you've got, and then of course you've got your kind of a hardcore brawl, the last man standing match, King and Silas Young, which that
television title.
That match was solid.
It really was good. Coming in not really knowing, I knew who Silas was, but I didn't know who Kenny King really was. I've never seen his work, but I was really impressed with him. He did a really good job. Yeah. And surprise appearance by Austin Aries.
Yes,
I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. And it was great. It was awesome to see him, and he got a huge pop from the crowd, and
I didn't realize he has that many belts.
Yeah, that's kind of the gimmick he's doing right now. He's the belt collector. Which
that's
his pay-per-view title match against Alberto El Patron is now no longer happening apparently because Patron decided to no-show last night's Impact show at the Sugar Mill for WrestleCon, and his contract has been terminated allegedly. So that really sucks for them because I know they've been building it up for a while.
And I feel like that's twice. That's twice that Alberto.
It sucks for several. Yeah, oh yeah.
He's shitted on Impact.
There's really no reason. There's really no reason anybody should book him anymore. But it sucks for them, not to go off on another tangent, but not only is their pay-per-view match now null and void, but, I mean, they've got how many shows in the can already that they've taped? They got footage that they have that they can't use now, so it sucks. In this case, I know Impact has done a lot of stuff over the years that's kind of been, like, wrestle crap worthy, and people shit on them, and deservedly so, but, I mean, in this case, obviously they made the mistake of booking him in the first place, but this kind of situation is out of their hands now, and now they're in a tough spot through no fault of their own.
Yeah,
really,
pretty much.
But so it is what it is. But yeah, seeing Aries tonight was really cool and unexpected, and the match between Kenny King and Silas Young was solid. I think the thing that popped the crowd the most was that shooting star press he did through the table.
Through the table to end the match pretty much with a kind of like, from where we were sitting, I couldn't really see all the details.
Yeah, we couldn't see
all
the
that
finish.
stuff. We couldn't really see the finish. But come to find out, I think it was
Beer City Bruiser.
Beer City Bruiser ended up tying Kenny King's legs together so he could not get up for the 10 count. And I was, like, impressed with that, too, because that was kind of sneaky. And, he was hiding underneath the ring.
And, I liked that part of it. I kind of think that if a shooting star press from the turnbuckle to the floor through a table isn't enough to keep you down for a 10 count, then, I mean, pull out a pistol and just fucking shoot him in the head,
for real.
I mean, that was a little bit overkill. That Silas was even able to get up for the 10 count at that point. It was kind of crazy. But I mean, you know what you're going to get with a lot of indie shows. I mean, I'm not. I will say, I think there was a good mix of what you would call more of like an indie spot-tastic kind of matches. We had a few of those, but we had some more slower paced, more deliberate matches as well. Whether it be Jay Lethal and Tanahashi against the Briscoes, or even the main event, Dalton Castle and Marty Scurll was not too spot-tastic, so to speak.
No, it really wasn't, but it was a good, straightforward match. A good straightforward match.
And I feel bad for those guys because obviously the crowd was so hot for Kenny and Cody, and that's a match that's been built up for months now, and it was the first match announced for the show, so obviously it was a big part of the reason why a lot of people were there. But they put it on before the title match, and I get the idea behind it because you want your title to be the most important aspect of every show. But I think that there was so much heat for the Kenny and Cody match that it kind of took the fans out of it a little bit for the world title match, because not only had some people just gotten up and left after the Kenny Cody match, which that boggles my mind, but I think people were just like, okay, we've been on our feet for the last 20-25 minutes, screaming and yelling, and it took them a little while to get the crowd back. I think they were into it by the finish, but I think that they got a good reaction. I just think it would have been even better if they'd gone on first.
Maybe gone on first.
But it is what it is. But yeah, no, it was a good match. I obviously, we're like Bullet Club fans, and it would have been great to see, Marty win the title, because I think it was not a good night for the Bullet Club.
No,
everyone lost.
No, everyone lost. Even with the Kenny and Cody match, because that situation to me is like nobody wins when you have a civil war in the factions.
It's like when mom and dad are fighting.
Yeah, it's like when mom and dad are fighting.
Yeah.
But no, I was kind of impressed with the women. The whole Women of Honor matches were pretty good, the early ones, but then the actual battle, the title was actually really, really good.
Yeah, I like that they continued the story, like I said earlier, the cheap shot, and then going into the match, the Japanese chick, man, she just started laying into her. And I thought that was good.
Laying in so hard that everybody screamed to everybody was on their feet when she attacked her, that nobody heard the bell.
Yeah.
So the match starts, nobody's here, the bell rang, but nobody heard the bell ring. So like the match is starting, and the ref's going along with it, and everybody's screaming, "Ring the bell, ring the bell!" But it's just like they did.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the girls worked hard. They had a good match. And I think that it's cool that Ring of Honor has a women's title now. Obviously, women's wrestling has gotten to be a pretty big deal in the States now.
Yeah.
And obviously having talent from Japan, just kind of obviously added extra, because you got the whole international flair. You got the Japanese girl, you got Tennille, who's obviously Australian,
yes.
and American. I think that they've got a pretty solid women's division, and I think that it's only going to get better for them as time goes on. So yeah, the women's match was good. They kind of made it feel like a big deal with the whole, the title being held up and everything, and then the big celebration angle at the end was
it was pretty
nicely done.
All the women coming out to support the match.
Yeah.
So it was actually really, really cool.
Even though, the crowd was into it, but they kind of rushed it a little. Like, what I mean by that is, after the match was over, they had the celebration angle, but they had already put up on the screen that the 6-man ladder match was getting ready to happen. So I think that
they were pulling out the ladders and all that.
So
stuff.
it kind of dampened the moment just a little bit, because the guys are the production crew's already up on the stage, like bringing out the ladders, and they're still in the ring, doing the celebration angle. So that was kind of like I said, they kind of just jumped the gun a little bit, and I think it would have made the moment a little more special if they just held off and pumped the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
But and another thing that we talked about, like just as a negative, in my opinion, coming from being used to like a WWE style more so, in WWE it's like they've got agents and things are kind of organized, and they decide, okay, in the main event we're going to use an announcer table spot, so that means we're not going to do any other announcer table spots throughout the rest of the show. Well, there wasn't anything like that on this card, because you've got a lot of the same stuff happening in just about every match. We're doing suicide dives in every match. We're doing, we did like table spots in like 4 different matches. Or that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but at least 3, I think, there were tables in. And
it was 3. There was one in Kenny and Cody. There was one in the ladder match.
Yep, and then Silas, the last man standing. Yeah, exactly. And then they used a ladder in the last man standing match, like directly after the ladder match. It's just overkill a little bit. Yeah. And it just felt like, to me, it's obviously a lack of communication somewhere.
And that's it's a lack of communication, and it's a big deal. It really is a big deal when you and I'm not gonna sit there. I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional wrestler. I'm not gonna say I know everything about the business, because I really don't. So,
well, no, but
I do agree. I do think that you shouldn't have so many spots, or just like these random things that happen in certain matches. Like, you can't have one thing happen in one match and the same thing happen in another.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, dude. And I'm one of those people. Sometimes I kind of roll my eyes a little bit when you hear an old timer say things like, "Oh, these young kids." But it really is true when you're sitting down for a 5 or 6 hour show, and you're gonna see all these matches. It's like, if you're doing the same spots and all of them, they kind of run together a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, they don't stand on their own as much, because.
Another thing is just how hyped that they get, because that's for the crowd to pop, and the crowd to get excited. And I feel like when you have something that's like a sensory overload, like they did with the ladder match. The ladder match was a sensory overload of just
crazy spots
and pops and all.
It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was
fun, but it was a good thing there was an intermission afterwards, because it really was taxing, and they kind of crossed over after the intermission too. So I mean, that's just how it is. All your serotonins drop and fucking because you're so goddamn excited, and then you're not interested by the end of the night.
Exactly.
which is why everybody was like, besides the fact that Kenny and Cody had just happened, I feel like that's also another reason why, there wasn't that big of a reaction with the Dalton Castle and Marty Scurll match.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, it was a long night, and at the end, I think we're going to have the same thing what happened with WrestleMania tomorrow, because WrestleMania is going to be an even longer card.
Yes, it is.
But no, I mean, overall, it was a good show. It was fun. I
had a great time.
Yeah, the crowd was into it the entire time, and it was fun to be a part of that smart crowd and be there chanting and doing the whole Too Sweet thing and all that. Was great. I would definitely like to go back and do another ROH show if they came back.
If they came back, totally. I would love to go.
I don't think they really come to this market, New Orleans,
not that often.
On a regular basis. But, there have been a ton of indie events over the weekend, which obviously we did Ring of Honor tonight, we're doing WrestleMania tomorrow, but that's the only two things that we're doing this weekend, so those are the only two things we can really talk about at this time.
Yeah, until I go back and look at everything.
Because we definitely are going to go back and watch NXT, and I know we're both pretty stoked about that.
Yes.
I'm sure it was a great show. I don't know anything about it right now.
I had to stop from looking at my phone just to make sure that I didn't get any spoilers. So
yeah, exactly, man.
I get those updates. Out there. Get those updates.
Everybody's trying to ruin shit for you. So.
Yep.
But that's just the way it is. But yeah, overall, so closing thoughts on Supercard of Honor 12. If you had to rate this thing out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it a solid 8.
Yeah,
I thought it was really, really good. Like I said, there's some things that were negative, but they weren't too many.
Yeah,
it wasn't like something that we could sit there and just be like, it was horrible. No, it was a great show. Everything lived up to its hype.
Yeah, the crowd was huge. The production was great,
and I had to enjoy. It was like a great time. Like from the start when we got there, enjoying everything from the panels to the Kingdom sitting outside selling their merchandise because they couldn't get in and playing that whole thing off and kayfabe. It was great. I enjoyed myself. It was probably the best time I've ever had at a live event of wrestling. So
I can agree with that. I think, obviously an event like this is more to our taste as, grown-up, adult, smart fans, so to speak. This show is kind of tailor-made for fans like us, more, whereas a WWE event might be more of a different kind of experience. Kind of like going to Disneyland or something.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, it's fun, and we're looking forward to WrestleMania tomorrow.
Yes.
But yeah, no, this was cool. This was probably one of the most memorable experiences for me too, as a fan experience. And the matches were great. It was awesome to see a lot of New Japan guys live in the ring for the first time.
That was pretty cool.
Like Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, Tanahashi, what have you. I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I've already kind of addressed some of the issues that I had with the show overall.
Right.
But some memorable matches.
Really good matches.
And it was a fun show. Ring of Honor has changed a lot over the years. Since Sinclair bought it out, it's become more of a mainstream product. Not to say that in a negative way, because some people do put a negative connotation on that. I think it's great because the wrestling industry's changed so much in the last few years, and now Ring of Honor has really become a viable alternative to WWE.
Yeah.
And obviously the partnership with New Japan has helped them a lot. To draw even more crowds, because until New Japan really gains a stronghold in the United States, which I think is going to happen soon. A lot of times the only way you can see a lot of these guys in the States is through Ring of Honor. So I mean, it's a big deal. But it's great. It's great that they've grown so much over the years, and now they're another place where people can work and gain experience and make money, and so it's for fans, it's just another alternative whether it be WWE, Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor, MLW, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. It's like there's a bunch of territories again, man. It's pretty cool.
I'm excited about that too.
So yeah, but fun times, and tomorrow is WrestleMania. We're gonna break that down once it's all said and done with, and give our thoughts on that as well. But
then we're gonna have this one big, huge package on the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's the biggest weekend of the year for wrestling, and luckily for us, it's in our backyard. So we're excited to be a part of the whole festivities, and we'll definitely come back soon with our WrestleMania thoughts on the later back half of this episode.
Mr. Luger, I saw what just happened out there with Ron Killens. I just want to ask you, what are your plans for the next show, Super Brawl Saturday? Are you going to take care of Ron Killens?
What kind of disgusting, despicable lack of respect is that Billy What's-His-Name show booking a match for the total package like Luger and Super Brawl? Super Saturday? What is it? I don't even know what it's called. What is it called?
Super Brawl Saturday.
Super Brawl Saturday? Can he afford to pay me to wrestle Ron? I don't know. I'm one of the biggest legends and stars ever in this. God! And you tease with that too tight too, Billy! And you book a match with me against Ron Killens? Look at me! I'm a total package. I will rip him apart. I'm pissed now.
I don't think I'd...
Following up on the discussion we had last night, now we're on our way home from WrestleMania. We left the Superdome. Realistically, it took us like an hour to get out of the parking garage. So it's been a while that we've been back in the car, but we're finally making progress. And so we decided to fire the Zoom up and talk about the WrestleMania experience. And it was interesting, man. There was some ups and downs, highs and lows. We're here to talk about it. So,
and I'm about to go on a fucking rant.
All right, man.
I'm about to go on a fucking rant.
The senator from California has the floor.
The senator from California has the floor. Fuck that main event match.
Oh God.
And I'm not talking about it as like most normal, non-casual WWE fans will talk about, because Roman Reigns will never be over unless they repackage him, probably as a heel and all that stuff. And not to knock the guy, I'm not knocking the guy because he is a good worker. He works fine. He's good for what he is, and he's a powerhouse wrestler.
Yeah.
But for the love of fucking God. 5 F5s?
Yeah, that was...
To put him down? That's bullshit!
Yeah.
He's not superhuman. He's just... and it drives me fucking crazy that they did that.
Yeah, it was basically just a finisher spam. People complained about that the first time around, but it was worse this time, I think.
It was so worse. Roman Reigns is not that tough. I'm not saying that I can beat him up. No, I probably couldn't. He'd probably kick my ass from here to there. But... we're talking about a guy from UFC and wrestling who's dominated the wrestling, field for years in Brock Lesnar. Now, I get doing 1 F5 kicking out, fine. 2 F5s kicking out, I'll give it an okay. 3 F5s, no. After the 3rd F5, he should have been down. It should have been over then.
Well, especially after he went through the announce table. That was like, just the icing on the cake.
And when he kicked out from that, I was done. I was done after the 3rd one. I was literally, should we leave now?
That was worse. that was worse than any indie match, that I could think of. And the thing about it is the F5's a pretty protected finisher. It's put down a lot of guys. And
some really big time players that,
And to me, it's like, okay, we're trying to get this guy over as like the top babyface that never gives up. And then, okay, this has totally past the realm of plausibility into like fairy tale fantasy land where
Right.
We're gonna have to shoot Roman Reigns with the bazooka in order to fucking keep him down for a 3 count. And he also got busted open hard way, kind of like Randy Orton did at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. They did a lot of stuff, and it was kind of a swerve ending because obviously I think most people thought that Brock was done and, Roman was going to get the win here. And I think most of us had just resigned ourselves to the fact that, that was going to happen. I'm like you, I don't hate Roman Reigns. I'm not as, hard on him as some people might be.
Right.
A lot of it is not really his fault per se. It's just booking.
Mm-hmm.
But... with that being said, it was not a good match, and I don't think it did him any favors at all. Obviously, because even after all that abuse that he took, that he kicked out of, he still lost the match clean in the middle of the ring. So it
made him look like horrible, and they really need to repackage him now.
Yeah, the crowd reaction was interesting. The fans kind of shat all over the whole thing.
The whole thing.
With Beach Ball Mania going on, which was
the one guy kicking it away from the security guard was the highlight.
Oh
of the
yeah,
whole
that
match.
was great. That was great. It was awesome. I'm not normally a fan of when the crowd hijacks the show like that, but the match was just not good, and I don't really blame them because it just felt like a really poorly booked angle all the way around. But
you can't really say it was a poorly booked angle. It had a texture to it, if you want to say. I understand the concept of Roman Reigns being the big dog and it's his yard now, and Brock Lesnar's a part-timer, and he started playing the part-timer card the same way John Cena played the part-timer card with The Rock.
I'm a little confused though because why go through all that effort and then have him lose clean at WrestleMania? I know the fans were sitting all over it.
That's stupid. That's what I was saying. The build-up was good.
The build-up was fine.
The payoff was horrible.
And I thought the first match they had at 31, up until the Rollins cash-in, was good for what it was. I thought it kind of was... it did its job of, keeping that aura of invincibility around Brock, but also showing that, Roman could hang and that he was actually starting to, build some momentum before Seth Rollins came in and totally crashed the party.
Right.
But this time around, he just got his ass kicked most of the match. And, he kicked out of, all those F5s, which was ridiculous. But
he didn't have no come up at all.
It didn't really do much for him at all. It was just a one-sided affair, basically.
Yeah. So it was pretty much just a finishing move or a signature move, kind of ordeal.
Yeah.
You had Brock doing all of his suplexes, which I think people got bored with.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of bored with the suplex gimmick.
I think so too. That's basically his thing now. That's kind of all he does.
All he does, and and then you had the Superman punches and the spears by Roman, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
A couple of throwing into the tables and the spear across the announce table, which was probably the only pop.
Yeah, I would have to say that's the only thing that really stands out to me. But, we're left kind of wondering where do we go from here. I guess we'll get some answers tomorrow night on Raw. Obviously...
Which would probably be a better... no, I can't say it was a better show. Because, honestly, WrestleMania was the shit up until that point.
Yeah, I agree. I just kind of went through my newsfeed, and I know some people disagree. I really didn't have a lot of negatives to the show leading up to that. There were some things that happened that I don't think everybody was a fan of, but it was a fun show. The crowd was into it.
It was
a really fucking long show. So I think towards the end, there was some of the steam was lost because we'd seen so much. But I mean, overall, there were a lot of really good things to come out of this pay-per-view. I mean, I thought that the opener was great. The IC title triple threat was very good. Charlotte and Asuka was probably the match of the night. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I agree. And dude, the Rousey match was awesome.
Rousey match was. I believe in Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if there were any doubters, obviously, well, I mean, okay, on the mic might be one thing.
Yeah, but, she definitely needs to polish her mic.
She does need to polish them, but they used that pre-taped interview that she did, the sit down with her and Kurt, in the video package, and she does really well with that kind of stuff because it's more like a UFC style,
Right. And that's what she's used to.
It's more one-on-one, intimate, and not necessarily trial by fire in front of a live crowd. But yeah, no, she looked like a badass all the way through, and kudos to Triple H for for being unselfish and selling for her, the way that he did, and really, I think he really helped to get her over. And then of course, Stephanie, they teased it all throughout the match, but and I'm glad that they did this. The minute she really locked that armbar in, she tapped out. She tapped out.
That was it.
Which was great.
It was good.
I think that was a moment that as fans we've wanted for a long time, and now that there actually has been a moment where all that heat kind of paid off, for something. Right. It felt really good. I think it really added to the match.
I thought it was a great match. Now, I liked Ronda Rousey. Her selling is good. She sold really, really well. And she looked like the badass that she is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The whole way through. I mean, I enjoyed. I think it was pretty cool that they kind of went lenient and did a little bit of the her attacking Triple H.
Right, exactly.
Which is something you don't see in this day and age, right? You don't see that kind of.
But it works for her because she is a legitimate badass.
Yeah, she's a legitimate badass, and I think she can beat up any man.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, in fact, you've seen. I mean, most of us have seen it on YouTube, and I mean, like, there's plenty of videos out there of her, taking men down and beating them into submission. So it's not, it's totally believable. So yeah, the match was great. It was a lot of fun. The crowd was really into it. There were a lot of matches that were not necessarily great matches per se, but they served their purpose, like the tag team triple threat with the Usos and the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers. The Fatal 4-Way U.S. title match was like that for me as well. Those matches, they served their purpose.
They did serve their purpose. I wasn't too happy with that one either.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
but that's just the finish. It's not the match. The match was good.
Yeah, I think everyone would have loved to see Rusev get the win, but at the same time, I'm glad at least they used the popularity that he had to, get some heat for Jinder because, obviously, that's not to say, I mean, Rusev just pinned Jinder on SmackDown Tuesday. For all we know, this could lead to an angle between the two of them. And Rusev might finally get the babyface turn.
And that'd be great.
Look, finishes aren't always the end-all, be-all for me. If they're building towards, like, a perfect example
was the Shinsuke.
Was the AJ and Shinsuke match. I think a lot of people probably had higher expectations for the match than what we actually got. Maybe that's partially just because of fatigue, for us. I had to really go back and rewatch the match to get a... it just felt like, I kind of kept waiting for it to get to that next gear, and it kind of did it. But at the same time, the way that it happened at the end of the match when Shinsuke turned heel and AJ, and, it just got me excited because then, to me, that showed me this is just the first chapter of the story.
Right.
And so, and I think as fans, a lot of times we expect that, WrestleMania is going to be the culmination and the payoff, and,
sometimes it continues on.
But it's like, not every, we're not going to get the climax of every single angle on the show, So for some, this is just the launching pad, it's just the beginning. And the idea of Shinsuke Nakamura as a heel, I had never even really thought about that before this because just of how popular he is. But now that I've seen it, I'm intrigued.
I'm very intrigued,
and I can't wait to see.
I think heel Shinsuke is going to be a really good thing.
Me too. I think it'll give him a chance to, add a whole nother dynamic to his character.
Right.
And, obviously, we know what those two are capable of, and I think that, as this feud goes on, they're only gonna bring it up to another level. It's not that they had a bad match tonight by any means.
Although I have to agree with you on the fact that I was kind of waiting for it to kick into to another gear, and that's just me thinking on a New Japan level.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you're expecting that. Because in New Japan has the formula of they get to fatigue and then they catch that second wind and then they just go all out. And I was waiting for the go all out,
right?
And it didn't happen.
Didn't really get there.
But I feel like with that nut shot and the heel turn,
the Kinshasa
on the floor. I think it's going to build to become a really epic feud.
Oh yeah, I love to see, and that's the thing. That's why to me, like, it works, because Shinsuke has such a he's a striker, and just seeing him put the boots to AJ, just rubbing his face with his foot, basically. It's like, I love seeing that, because it was just so disrespectful, and
it was. It really was.
It's just exciting. And then, of course, as we mentioned earlier, the Charlotte Asuka match, the finish
match the night.
Yeah, I agree.
Holy crap.
And the two finishes looked like they were going to play out the same way, because obviously Asuka, tapped out and lost the match, but, and then they had the big hug at the end.
At the end, yes.
And they kind of did the same thing with AJ and Shinsuke, but then they kind of swerved you there, which was nice. But yeah, no, the Charlotte Asuka match, man, those two girls really,
they went at it.
They really put it out there.
They really put it out there.
Yeah, and I mean,
I think that was like the first women's wrestling chant I've heard since probably Sasha Banks and
Bayley.
And Bayley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first time I've ever heard it. I think in on the main roster, anyways.
To me, it's up there in quality. I mean, I need to watch it again. A few times probably, but the moment that really stood out to me that was just so well executed, and it was a simple thing, but when Charlotte came off the top with that moonsault and Asuka perfectly transitioned into a triangle choke,
that was so good.
It was really well done.
Oh, so good.
And I mean, the match was just full of great moments like that. Very physical, hard-hitting affair. And told a great story.
Surprise victory. Shocker. That was the shocker.
The tap out. You would think Asuka hasn't lost a match at all in 2 years, and she tapped out, and but it was believable just because of the nature of the match that they had.
Right.
Now, one thing that happened that tonight that was somewhat controversial, I personally didn't have a problem with it, and that was the Undertaker John Cena thing. Now, obviously,
you see, you looked at things I didn't. I'm trying to.
Well, I say kind of I just looked at my news feed, and some people were probably kind of PO'd that we didn't really get what I would call a real match, so to speak, between the Undertaker and John Cena. Obviously,
what are you talking about? We got a real match.
We did get a real match. But we got what was basically a squash match, though.
But no, we got the perfect match, the perfect ending to something. If he retires now, we do. To me, it's perfect. No, if you're gonna go out the way that you came in, and that was a dominant force in WWE, somebody who squashed people on a regular basis.
He did. I don't think.
And
Taker looked good tonight. I mean, he got all his shit in. He did all of his signature stuff that we know and love, and he looked great, in the ring doing all of that stuff. And the fans were happy to see him, and it was what it was. It was really more of just an angle than anything. I mean, it was a match, obviously, but it was a pretty straightforward, simple affair. Not really a whole lot to it. It was a pretty long segment, though, when you factor in the Elias stuff and everything else, and the tease.
Yeah, the tease. You had the ref right after the end of the Asuka Charlotte Flair match, the ref coming out and getting into the crowd and telling John Cena the secret. And him running past Charlotte. And Charlotte's like, he even saw Charlotte on the thing going, that was John Cena.
Right? Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but, so some people weren't happy to I guess they wanted the 5-star, classic.
But you got to realize, my honest opinion is, and this is what I think that whole match was really about. It wasn't to boost John's ego or anything like that. It wasn't to do, obviously not, because he lost, and he lost in a squash. But I feel like it was Undertaker didn't exactly retire on the best note.
No, yeah, there were definitely, the match with Roman was not the best.
Another thing is, y'all, we're talking about the Undertaker. Now, granted, we see him as the dead man, and he's a supernatural being, but in all actuality, he is a human being, and he is not in his prime anymore, and he has had hip surgery, and he can only do so much. Now, granted, for someone who has had hip surgery, he moved really well in the ring.
Yeah, maybe the surgery helped. I don't know.
Maybe. But I feel like this was a match that John Cena wanted it to kind of memorialize the Undertaker and let him leave on a better note than what he did last year.
Yeah, they say that when you go out, you're supposed to go out on your back, putting somebody else over.
Right.
And obviously he did that last year with Roman Reigns, but for somebody like Undertaker, who's been as loyal to the company as he has for as long as he has and been as big of a star as he has, to me, I feel like he deserves to be an exception to the rule because, he deserves to go out with his
yard for years.
He deserves to go out with his head held high, looking like the Taker that we know and love. Now, that's not, look, we don't know. Is he retired now?
There's no telling.
Who can say? We probably won't know until.
We thought that we thought that Ric Flair was retired for so many times. It's not even funny. And Mick Foley.
And Terry Funk.
Terry Funk's
still wrestling.
But they eventually come back because they love the business and all that stuff.
And I think when Undertaker does decide to hang it up, he will for good. But.
Who knows? You know what? I feel like if you're gonna keep Undertaker in the business, though, and if you want to keep him the same, like the dead man and all that stuff, you need to maybe make him the manager of somebody who a protege. Kind of like if you look at like Lucha Underground, the way that Vampiro did the whole thing with
Pentagon?
With Pentagon Jr., the whole master thing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like
it could work.
That could be cool.
Obviously, depending on his persona, that was another thing. Obviously a lot of people, myself included, kind of predicted that he would come back as American Badass because of the whole Kid Rock induction.
Yeah, I kind of did too.
And the way that, he left the coat and the hat and everything in the ring last year. They just kind of put that together, but
I like the way they did it, though.
Yeah, I did too. I wasn't disappointed to see him come back as the dead man by any means. But yeah, it was a little bit unexpected. And, who's to say? It's like, I don't really remember. It's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't even know did anyone even report that was the rumor, or was that just fan speculation?
I think it was fan speculation that turned into a rumor.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, did we even have any source for that, or was that?
No, there was no source. That was a whole bunch of. That was a whole bunch of people saying, man, it might be the American Badass,
right?
And then it just blew up from there.
It's kind of like Braun's tag team partner, which is another thing. It's like there was a lot of different rumors going around, and it might be Hulk Hogan.
And I want to give a shout out to that little bastard, Nicholas.
Oh, man. Nicholas got over tonight.
He got so over.
Yeah, Nick.
Man, yeah. I wish to be that age right now and had something that special ever happen to me. This kid, whether it was a plant or not, I don't know what it was.
I'm sure it was.
It was a plant.
It might be. I think it probably
It could have possibly been a plant.
And that's another thing that was, from what I was reading, some people were just kind of not really into, Barry's the bar, or, it's, it makes Braun look like a joke.
God damn it.
It was entertaining. The crowd was really into it, and it made sense from the standpoint of Braun. First of all,
nobody can have fun anymore.
Dude,
I hate to interrupt you, but nobody can fucking have fun.
No, you're right. And it's like, okay, yeah, to me, it's like, how does it make Braun look bad when he just single-handedly
took care of the bar?
Yeah, exactly.
The only time he tagged him in to give him this little moment in the ring, and he didn't even. It wasn't like a match with the kid where he ended up like burying Cesaro.
Yeah, and they didn't have to sell for the kid.
They didn't have to sell for the kid. The kid literally went in there, took a couple of steps, got scared of Cesaro, and tagged Braun Strowman back in.
Yep.
It was a little fun.
Yeah,
God damn it, stop being so goddamn serious. It's a wrestling show, for Christ's sakes.
I mean, I would love to see if the kid's maybe the kid's homeschooled or something like that. I would love to see him go on the road with Braun and
that'd be fun.
They defend the belts.
I would enjoy the shit out of it.
We'll see what happens. Again, this story will probably be continued on Raw tomorrow night. But, yeah, man, there was a lot of stuff that was...
I was impressed with both Battle Royals.
Yeah, I thought so. The Cruiserweight
title match was good. I'm
nice to see Cedric get his moment.
Cedric finally got his moment, and I was really happy about that.
Yeah, he was kind of the bridesmaid in the Cruiserweight division. He never really had a chance with it until now, so I'm glad on this big stage.
Considering how he came into the WWE, I'm sorry, I say he came into the WWE, and I'm talking about when he during the Cruiserweight Classic, when he put on that hell of a match
with Kota Ibushi,
and fucking and then had fucking Triple H come out and say, "Man, you're in."
The whole crowd's chanting, "Please sign Cedric," and I mean, it's good to see him kind of get back to that glory again.
Right, exactly. Kind of like get that promise that he,
Yeah, he worked his ass off.
His ass off to get.
But to me, this.
How about that Bray Wyatt and fucking
Matt Hardy?
Yeah, I'm excited to see where they're going to go with that.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that it looks like Bray's going to be a face. I mean, he's basically been a face with the crowd for a while now anyway. Obviously, the fans really appreciate his character and the work that he's put in.
And I would love to see them work as a tag team.
Yeah, because, I mean, let's be honest. Bray's been lost in the shuffle for the last year. He finally won the belt, earlier in the year last year. But after he got traded to Raw, he just kind of was treading water. And so, to me, this is a chance for him to do something different and, maybe explore another dimension of personality. Maybe he'll have a chance to actually, because I think a lot of people have an issue with the fact that Bray, has lost a lot of his feuds, and so they feel like maybe he can't be taken seriously as this big scary guy because he loses a lot. And maybe if as a babyface, if he is terrorizing heels and they sell for him, maybe he'll have a chance to actually
I believe he'll get over that way. But I'm gonna ask the same question I asked you during that little segment. So what do you think is going to happen with Jeff? Do you think that when Jeff comes back, do you think he's going to still be with his brother, or do you think that he's going to go on his own as a solo?
I could see it going down like this, in my opinion. I think that I could see Bray and Matt having a little
being like
run.
A trio.
Oh yeah, I could see them all being kind of affiliated together. I think it was only a matter of time before they obviously got the initial run out of the Hardys. I think they were probably gonna go singles eventually anyway, because obviously they know that Jeff is a big star, and they
know that Matt has brought himself up.
He has, and
should have been a long time ago.
Yeah, well, and this whole broken or woken character, and this obviously
it's the same thing.
The ultimate deletion, has been a pretty big success, virally speaking. And so, I mean, obviously they're starting to see that they kind of have something with this character. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I can see them doing singles runs, but I can also see, obviously, now Bray being with Matt, I could see them kind of being a team for a little while.
Yeah.
And maybe going after the belts. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities there. I mean, I think Bray could still be solo, you know, and I think they could all three be solo and be just kind of run together.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be one
Tag
or the other.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was cool.
A good way to end in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was really good.
No, I agree.
And I even like the surprise ending with the women's too, because I mean,
with
everybody, everybody thought that Bayley won. At least I did. I thought Bayley had won, but I guess I didn't see Naomi like sneak up underneath the ropes and.
Well, the reason I liked that was because, obviously,
it kept the rumor hounds.
Yeah, well,
from being right in a way. That's the way I feel, because everybody was all like, it's going to be out of Bayley and Sasha Banks.
See, and I always thought,
it's going to be Bayley
I
and
always
Sasha
thought, obviously they're building this like singles feud between the two of them. Neither one of them really needs the win because, their story is going to continue regardless.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of glad it went to somebody else, and I'm glad it went to Naomi
I'm so glad it went to Naomi.
Because Naomi is awesome.
Naomi's a great wrestler.
She's been working hard for years, and she finally got a character that got over and got popular.
She went from being a dancer with
Funkadactyl.
Yeah, the Funkadactyls.
Yeah,
to being a really prominent wrestler in the women's division.
Yeah,
and I think she's had some good matches, and she had a good run. She's held the title.
Yeah,
so,
she had a good run with that. So good for her, and I'm glad that that she'll be forever immortalized as the first women's battle royal winner.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good stuff. Like I said before, to me. Turn here. So to me, the card had a really nice ebb and flow to it. Not every match, on the card is going to serve the same purpose. Some matches are really meant to showcase to workers to go out there and really tear it up and show what they're made of. Other matches are designed to maybe get one worker over the other. And, so to me, each match, with the exception of the main event, was successful in that they served their purpose.
Right.
And so I came away from it happy and entertained. And, I kind of stand by it. I thought it was a pretty good show overall. At first, honestly, I was thinking, okay, this could be the best Mania ever, just on paper. Yeah. I don't think that coming away from it, I don't feel that it, immediately that it was. But that's not to say that it wasn't very good, and that I might not feel stronger about it once I go back and watch it again.
Right. I have to say this before we, I guess, take a break.
Hit the pause
button. I do have to say though that I'm really glad that my girl Nia Jax has a strap on her.
Yeah.
Nia Jax winning.
You said strap on.
I did say. You sick perverted.
That's all right. It wasn't that kind of match, boys and girls.
It wasn't that kind of match. No, but I'm happy that she finally has a title. I thought that, because I follow Nia Jax all the way through NXT. I love her to death, and I thought that she could have been an NXT champion, which they didn't do. But I'm glad they finally put a belt, gave her the chance to wear the belt in the main roster, beating Alexa Bliss to smithereens. No, let me put it another way. She didn't just beat. It was Mickie James that she destroyed. Holy crap!
Yeah, definitely. They had to bring out a spatula and scrape Mickie off the concrete.
Oh man,
it was awesome.
It was awesome. All right, so we're gonna hit the pause button right now.
Yes, and we will be back in just a minute. Okay, so we're back, and yeah, exactly. Quick pit stop. And I guess I'll just ask. To me, the question I have for you is what do you think? When it's all said and done, what will you remember the most from this WrestleMania, do you think?
What will I remember aside from that horrible fucking finish?
Well, yeah, hey, that's pretty memorable, in all the wrong ways, but it is very memorable.
I think the Daniel Bryan match is memorable.
Yeah, definitely. That's something we haven't talked about at all yet.
No, we haven't talked about that yet. But definitely the Ronda Rousey. Having Ronda Rousey and all that stuff was probably memorable. The match between there's so many. There really is a lot of things that I'll probably remember about being at this WrestleMania. But yeah, honestly, if I had to pick the one though, it would probably be the match between Asuka and Charlotte Flair because of how well done it was set up and just the way it was executed. It was probably the match I will remember from WrestleMania.
Yeah, I totally feel that. Yeah, the Daniel Bryan match was obviously great. It was great for a lot of reasons. Being back to me, returning to the ring for the first time in 3 years. In the same building where he won the title and beat Evolution, in one night was really cool. And I'm glad that, we were able to be a part of both of those moments.
Yeah, exactly.
And the match was pretty good. Obviously it was designed in a way kind of similarly to the Rousey match. It was kind of designed in a way to kind of build up your anticipation to the hot tag to see both of those performers, do their thing. Obviously they did the powerbomb spot at the beginning of the match to kind of keep Daniel protected a little bit, or to keep him, out of the ring to build.
Maybe not to do so much right now, but yeah.
So it'll be. I'm curious to see exactly how much he is going to be working.
With him being GM and all that stuff.
Right. I mean, is he going to continue to be GM? Is he going to go back to a full-time schedule? Is he going to be part-time? Are they going to allow him to? Look, as far as the stuff he was doing out there, he did a lot of the stuff that, he did before. And he looked like he hadn't really missed much of a step at all.
And he took some serious stuff and,
Yeah, he did that missile, man, he did that missile drop kick off the top rope and, he came down and did a flat back and, it looked like he hit his head on the mat.
At first everybody was kind of and then he kept up and everybody was,
Yeah, well, and with him, man, I think we're all, look, just because.
We're a little worried.
Yeah, exactly. I don't.
Even though I have my suspicions.
Yeah, I think the next program most of us would like to see is him and The Miz.
Yes, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that we'll see him and The Miz go at it because
there's definitely
Miz has his comeuppance.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of unfinished business there.
He's definitely got some things that I think Daniel Bryan's going to take matters into his own hands with The Miz. I'm not gonna lie, I was probably the only one at WrestleMania who was probably going for the Miz at the triple threat.
I love Miz, man. He's great.
He's a great heel.
He's so solid.
I love the Miz. And he's been there for so long, and he's just been working the same thing, and it's kind of sad that the fan base out there just gives him this kind of he's just the Miz. That's the attitude that they give him.
I really feel like...
I'm like, he's better than that.
To me, he, more than anybody else that immediately comes to mind, has really benefited from this brand extension. Because, going to SmackDown and getting the platform to talk on Talking Smack, as well as the program that he had with Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title in late 2016. That stuff is what, to me, kind of sold me on The Miz more so than anything else. I mean, I liked Miz before. He's always been a good, solid character, but
and a good heel.
And a great heel.
Great heel.
But he showed a whole nother side of himself and really put on some great matches.
Yes.
So to me, that was what really kind of propelled him, to another level. And then, obviously, I mean, even being moved to Raw, he's still had a pretty good spot, and he's consistently held on to that Intercontinental title. And in my opinion, he's been a great Intercontinental champion.
He has.
And I'm excited that Seth Rollins got the win, because he's been doing some great stuff lately, and I feel like he needs
kind of a comeback.
Yeah, he deserves it. And to me, the Intercontinental title, kind of has a reputation for being the workhorse championship. And so I think, he's a good guy, a good standard bearer for that. He'll put on great matches and, keep that belt prestigious and make it
just as
important.
Much prestigious as Miz did, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Miz definitely made it prestigious.
Oh, I agree.
Talking about it and defending it,
And maybe I'm wrong about this. I guess we'll see. I feel like part of the reason why Miz might have lost it is because I think he might want to take some time off. Now that he's got baby. Finn would have been a good choice too. I think Finn will get a run as well eventually.
Yes.
But I would really like to see. I would like to see maybe, when Samoa Joe returns, maybe they could do a program between the two of them for the Intercontinental title. I feel like that would be a money feud.
That would be a good one.
But yeah, I don't know. And another question mark is, what's going to happen with the Universal title? We thought that Roman Reigns was going to win it and we'd have a full-time champion again, but now that...
Actually, I was thinking that in the beginning of it, but I think right as soon as we got into the middle of it, I said, what if they swerve us all?
Yeah, you did say that before the match.
Just have Brock Lesnar win it and say nanny nanny boo boo, motherfuckers.
Yeah. The question is, okay, obviously they've got something worked out, whether or not that means maybe they have him drop it tomorrow night on Raw, and maybe or maybe they worked out another deal, and maybe he's got more dates now, and they're just gonna have him hold on to it until some future time when he'll drop it to somebody, presumably.
And I think I mentioned it. I did mention it. I mentioned it earlier about how if he does go into the UFC and all that stuff, I still don't think that it would really affect anything, because the UFC doesn't do when their combatants fight, they normally maybe fight 2 or 3 times a year, if that. So if he does go into the UFC, I don't see it really hindering him from doing anything with WWE. So
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of question marks.
A lot of question marks. I think we both said Strowman is probably the one that's going to have to take it from him.
But you wouldn't think that right now, because he's involved in the tag team program, that he's not really. They're not looking at that as an immediate option,
unless he becomes a belt collector.
Yeah, like a really big, swole Austin Aries,
right?
Yeah, but so overall, I enjoyed the show. Now, from a production standpoint, what did you think of the set, the design, the production quality, the pyro, everything?
I liked it a lot better than the last time they were here.
Yeah.
The set design was really, really cool.
Yeah, the big Mardi Gras mask was nice.
Yeah, it had a more New Orleans feel than the last.
It wasn't as elaborate as, say, last year's set with the big theme park, but I thought it was
good for what it was.
It was well done. I enjoyed it.
And considering that we were sitting behind it.
Yes, exactly. We definitely got cheap seats.
We got cheap seats.
We really couldn't see any of the entrances. We had a bird's eye view of the ring.
We had the bird's eye view of the ring. We couldn't see the entrances because we were behind.
But that's okay, because I
was fine with that too. I love the pyro.
Oh yeah, the pyro was good. The entrances were pretty okay. To me, there wasn't anything that really stood out as wow, that was a crazy cool entrance.
You know what? They haven't really done anything like that for a couple of WrestleManias now.
No, see, I remember still. Triple H's entrance was really cool at 30, where he kind of came out on the throne, and the horsewomen were there, but they were kind of covered up as his handmaidens or whatever.
That was the one with Stephanie McMahon? or like sitting there saying she talked and all that?
No,
stuff?
that was the next. That was 32, I think.
32.
Yeah,
I thought that one was really good, and I remember when that happened, I actually sat there. I said I felt like that entrance to me, like the way that they went so theatrical with it. I felt like, because during that time, that was when Lucha Underground was just starting, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I said that the reason why they did that was just to kind of like give Lucha Underground the finger, saying, well, if y'all can do like a really good production, we can do a really good production too.
Yeah.
You know, y'all want to be theatrical with it, we can be theatrical too if we really wanted to. But yeah, I think that might have been actually the last, like, yeah, maybe not memorable.
Yeah, I mean, there've been a ton of them over the years, but Charlotte's entrance was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was kind of on par with that Triple H entrance I just mentioned.
New Day's entrance was funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
With the little pancakes.
Yeah, and they were like, they were like little people doing the pancake gimmicks, and they were doing the worm and stuff. That was
pretty cool.
That was pretty, and of course, as you mentioned, Xavier summoning them with his trombone.
Yeah, with the
Green Power Ranger.
The Green Power Ranger theme.
Yeah.
That was so cool. He did that. I was like, thank you, Xavier Woods.
Of course he would throw something in there. Like,
well, yeah, he's a big nerd. He's a comic book, Power Rangers, pop culture nerd, video game nerd, and I love Xavier Woods for it. But yeah. I did say something earlier, like about the New Day, though. I was like, if anybody, they've been making breakfast food. They've been getting breakfast food over since the whole thing.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, in closing, I would say that, it was a pretty good WrestleMania overall. The main event might have sent people home on the wrong note, but I think, overall, it was a good show with some great matches and some good angles. I think that there's a lot positive coming out of it, going into,
I see some really good storylines.
Yeah, developing for sure.
For it.
And, I think that, it was a winner overall. And I don't think that we're going to get another WrestleMania anytime soon, just because we had 2 in a 4-year period, which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
But it was definitely memorable. It was an experience that I won't soon forget, and it was cool to be part of the biggest wrestling show of the year.
So on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll probably want to watch it again with the commentary and everything like that.
Yeah, commentary does make it,
and being able to look at the stage to do
right,
see the entrances and stuff.
See everything though.
But my gut says 7.5.
7.5. I was gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
And even though we didn't get to see the entrances, and even though we didn't get to see, we couldn't hear commentary and all that stuff. That's what you get with live events. And like I said, I like live events because of that. You can't hear the commentary.
Sometimes that's a good
goes. I say 7, and the reason why is because it dropped points by the end of the match.
Oh
I'm not gonna get over it. I'm not gonna get over the end of the goddamn show being the way it was. The main event just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way with Roman Reigns trying to become Super Cena.
Next time it'll be 8 F5s, and the last one will be like on a spike or a bed of spikes.
On a bed of thumbtacks, maybe not even. Yeah, probably a bed of spikes.
And then as like
throwing a grenade,
his lifeless body is just like there. The loudspeaker is gonna come on, and they're gonna be like fatality.
Yeah. Jesus. Oh, but yeah, I definitely give it a 7. I did enjoy it. Had some good shocking moments, I felt like.
Yep.
And I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, man, it's been a great weekend. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been. I'm ready to get some rest, man.
Me too. I'm tired.
All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap it up here.
So there you have it, our thoughts on both Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, and WrestleMania 34. Some highs, some lows, overall a great experience and a weekend that will not soon be forgotten. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this early maiden voyage of our new podcast, again called Revenge of the Marks. We hope you liked it. We would love to hear your feedback on what you would like to see or hear differently, or maybe the things that you enjoyed. Drop us a line, Revenge of the Marks on Facebook, and we will be back very soon with another episode for you. And we hope you enjoyed as much as we enjoyed putting this thing together. So for my co-host Damien Black, I am Dane Campbell. We'll see you soon, but till next time, always remember to respect the mark.